function is a mini set of instructions that we use to teach how to do something. Let's look at this example. Most of us know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich already, but we know that because we were taught how to do it. First instruction in this function is we need the bread. The second instruction in this function is we put peanut butter on one side of the bread. The third step in this function is to put jelly on the other piece of bread. Finally, we put our two pieces of bread together, we cut our sandwich, and now we have our peanut butter jelly sandwich. These are the instructions that we use to make a peanut butter jelly. Let's use code.org now and see how we write functions. In lesson 16, activity number 2, it starts you off with writing a basic sequence, a basic algorithm. And I noticed that my little farmer is going to move from here over to the pumpkin. So I'm going to repeat until I get to the pumpkin. I'm going to move forward as my action. And finally, at the very end, he's going to pick a pumpkin. Now, he's only going to pick one. Be careful you don't put it inside that repeat until loop. Otherwise, he's going to try to pick up a pumpkin every time he moves forward. So I know that's the last thing that I need to do, so I'm going to go ahead and run that now. And my little farmer moves forward until he gets to the pumpkin, and then he picks it up. Take a look at puzzle number 3. Every single one of these puzzles that we do, they build on the previous puzzle. So think about what you did in the previous puzzle and then apply that to the next puzzle. In this particular one, I wrote the exact same algorithm. Repeat until there are pumpkins. What do I want him to do? Well, I want him to move forward. Except this time, when he moves forward, I want him to check every single square that I have here for corn. Some of them have this little leaf, some of them have a corn stalk. So that tells me that I don't know if there's corn there. So my function over here, right here, in this function, it says check a square for corn. If there's corn there, then what do? I pick up the corn. So I'm going to drag that function block out of my toolbox, and I'm going to place it underneath of every step forward. So I move forward, I check a square for corn. Let's use my step button. I move forward, I check a square for corn. And if there is, then my function says pick it up. And then there's no more corn, so I repeat. Move forward, check a square for corn, pick it up. Move forward, check a square for corn. There's no corn, so I continue. Repeat. Move forward, check a square for corn, and then finally pick the pumpkin. Okay, let's apply that to number 4. Now in number 4, we have the exact same algorithm here that we did before. We just have a lot of extra steps. So let me put all this in the toolbox and let's write this one together. So the first thing that my little farmer needs to do is repeat until there are pumpkins. Well, what is he going to do? What's he going to repeat? The action is to move forward. So he moves forward every time until he gets to the pumpkin. But just like in my last puzzle, I want to check a square for corn. So I need to say, with my function block, check that square for corn. And finally, at the very end, what's he going to do? He's going to pick that last pumpkin. And when I run that, my farmer will get to the very end and pick the last pumpkin. Now, I need to get my farmer up to the second part. So what's the next action in my sequence, in my algorithm? That is to turn left, move forward 2 times, and turn left. That will set him up so that he is ready to do the top row now. And I test that. And now finally, I notice that the top row is exactly the same as the bottom row. So because I've already written that up here, I can just copy that down here as the last part of my sequence. Repeat until there are pumpkins. Move forward. Get my function, check the square for corn. And finally, at the very end, pick that last pumpkin. Now, in puzzle number 5, you now have, I'm going to get rid of this, you now have 2 functions. Remember, 2 mini programs, 2 things that you've taught your farmer to do. I also noticed something in my puzzle right here. On that pumpkin, there is now a question mark. That question mark means I don't know how many pumpkins are there, just like the leaves. So I'm going to think back to what I did in puzzle number 4, because the path is exactly the same. I'm going to repeat until there are pumpkins. I am going to move forward. I'm going to check those squares for corn. Let's move this out of the way. And finally, I'm going to, at the very end, I'm going to pick a pumpkin. Well, now wait a minute. Remember, that's a question mark. So there might be more than one pumpkin there. And over here, I have a new function that says get all the pumpkins. While there are pumpkins, do the pick pumpkin. So let's use that new function. Let's get all the pumpkins. So if there's 1 pumpkin there, it will pick up the 1. If there's 4 pumpkins there, it will pick up 4. Let's see if it works. Move forward. It checks the square for corn, picks them up, picks up all 3 pumpkins that were there. Now what do I need to do next? Well, just like in puzzle number 4, you need to turn your farmer left, move forward, turn him left, and then write this sequence again right here to do the top row. Now finally, in puzzle number 6, they give you these functions to start, same as before. It is exactly the same sequence that you did in puzzle number 5. So you may want to go back to puzzle number 5, write it down, and then copy that over for number 6. The only thing that's different on this one is that at the very end, you need to move your farmer forward, turn your farmer to the right, and then write that algorithm to, again, follow the row, pick up the corns, and then last, get all the pumpkins.